I love kids jokes too, you know, like the like the cowboy that goes to the doctor. He says to the doctor, "Doc," he said, "I don't feel so well." And the doctor says, "How long has this been going on?" He said, "About a year." Isn't that lovely?
Welcome to the Humourology Podcast with me, Paul Boross, and my glittering lineup of guests from the worlds of business, sport and entertainment, who are going to share their wisdom and their use of humour with you. Humourology is the study of how humour can dramatically improve your business and your life. Humourology puts the fun into business fundamentals, increases the value of your laughing stock, and puts a punchline back into your bottom line. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. My guest on this edition of the Humourology Podcast is a multi-award-winning chef, entertainer, and fabulously fun force of nature. After almost 3 decades as one of the country's favourite TV chefs, he is mononymous, meaning that like Britney, Beyonce, and Bjork, he is one of that rare breed of stars who is identifiable by one name only. Probably still best known for his 21 series of Ready Steady Cook, and with many solo primetime cooking series under his belt, he's become a master of the fresh, fun, accessible cuisine. If it's charisma and warmth you're after, with a little bit of laughter, he's the one that you want on your speed dial. Ainsley Harriott. Welcome to the Humourology Podcast, mate.
I love that. Britney and Bjork.
Going back to our Comedy Store days and jongleurs and all the places we played around the world, actually, we never explained earlier on. We played at 3,000 feet because
30,000.
30,000.
3,000 feet. We were in a parachute. 33,000 feet. We're now running at 33,000 feet.
Oh, we did play at 33,000 feet. Going to Miami and to New York, we played. Is that the weirdest place you've ever played on a plane?
Well, yeah, people talk about the Mile High Club. I think that's it. You know, performing and with shakers, maracas, guitar and everything else up there. That was amazing. And because of the sound of that kind of hollow sound that you get inside an aircraft, it was amazing though, being able to perform and sing and bring some joy to people, and and the captain turning around and saying that's fantastic, and everyone saying how much they enjoyed their flight.
We went in and did a little song for the captain in the days when you could get into the cockpit. Yeah. We did a little number for the captain.
They loved it. Yeah. Oh. And the co-pilot or whatever it is. Yeah.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Lovely.
So, what makes you laugh? I mean, in terms of comics and people and well,
children mainly. I mean, I love my dog who's consistently barking out in the garden now because he's, by the way, he's...
Should we let him in?
He's a little bit wet. He could, he could come in if he wants. Come on in, Bob. Come on in, and just walk past. Come here. That's it. Yeah, he's just going off there. Hello, how are you? Hey? Yeah, sit down, and up you go. Say hello to everybody. This is Bobby. You all right, Bobby? Bobby's very wet, and oh my God! Look at this drips. Look, sorry, guys. This will go all over. 30 seconds. I think we'll use this towel here, and we'll give him a very quick rub.
That's.
I'll put this towel straight into the wash afterwards. This was for your hands. Yet you are one very, very wet dog, and I love you. There you go. Right, goodbye. Go. Bloody wet floor. Look at all of this. Sorry about that. This is what happens sometimes when you have a pet dog. No, we don't want you here anymore. Go on, out. Put this in the wash. Goodbye. Thank you.
Can he get through there? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
What were we talking
Now what
about?
were we talking about, Dux?
I can't remember. Oh, what makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh? I think that.
Hold on, come and sit down. We need you in the
I
shop.
know. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay.
Home with Ainsley, right?
Yeah. It really is. It really is. I think, what really makes me laugh is children. I think children are so uninhibited. They don't care. They just love. Children just kind of, they're so innocent. It's not programmed or anything else. What comes to light really comes to light. If they've got something to say, they've got something to say. I love kids' jokes too, like the like the cowboy that goes to the doctor and he said to the doctor, "Doc," he said, "I don't feel so well." And the doctor says, "How long has this been going on?" He said, "About a year." Isn't that lovely? It's so simple. I remember a kid telling me the joke and I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. A bit like the pandemic, isn't it? Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
wonderful.
That's a brilliant gag.
Yeah.
We worked with most of the great comics of the era. I mean, over sort of 9 years, we worked with, all the Jack D's, the Julian Clary's, the Paul Mertons and everything like
Alan
that.
Davises.
Davises. Yeah. Who are, I mean, it may not be from the era we worked with them, but who are the people that make you laugh?
It really is we talk about that whole period of going through schooling, and I used to come round to our friends that we were at school with, and used to like your Monty Pythons. You guys loved your Monty Pythons, which I found quite funny, but I think there was not much choice. And then I was released for a friend of mine, Robin Dawson, to Richard Pryor, which was only on an album, so blue, so filthy, but so exciting at the time because I'd never heard anything like that before. So, the old days, it was Richard Pryor that sort of, brought humour like you'd never heard anything like that before. It was exciting, it was uplifting, it was about you, it was about being black and, the challenges and everything else. It just, and you found a way of laughing at it, and we all do, it's like sickness, if you can find a way around laughing at things sometimes, or death. It's just a way of dealing with it. Sometimes it's a release for a lot of people. But later on, you mentioned someone like Alan Davis. I think we were at the Comedy Store for his very first gig.
Yeah.
And it was just unbelievable for someone to walk on and to capture a room like that. A lot of the old pros that are just kind of have a bit of a routine that they've been doing for years and still funny. But, Tommy Cooper never changed his act. He did the same act everywhere he went, but yet, what a funny person. Talk about how people are funny. He was just funny. Just the look of him. I know he looked a bit clumsy, but he was just funny. And so it's, what makes me laugh today? I say children because a lot of modern day comics just doesn't, I don't connect with it. I don't see, I don't have that same belly laugh. But I wonder if it's something to do with me getting a little bit older. I still laugh at stuff, but sometimes when you're young and it's the first time you go somewhere and someone swears on stage, it is so funny. And, for us now, having done thousands and thousands of times, give me something else. What else makes me laugh? But funny is just funny. Sometimes we sit down here and have a breakfast on a Saturday morning and we are giggling at, I don't know what, nothing. We look back at something we did at school once, or called each other a certain name, or something that might have happened just walking down the road, and we just look at each other and we have the same kind of understanding. And there's something really special about that, being with a mate and just not having to, what was that wonderful thing that David Niven said all those years ago? He said one of the most comforting things, he says, is that you can tell when you are with a really close friend because you feel no pressure in the silence. It can just be utterly silent. You don't feel any pressure. I don't need to say anything. If I just want to sit here and be silent, I could be silent with them. And then when I'm ready to say something, I can say it. There's no pressure. Yeah. But you can always tell when you don't feel right when you're with someone, and then you kind of think, what should I say now? What should I do now? Or, sorry, I've got to go. Look at the time. That type of thing. Whereas real friendships, you don't even have to think about it. They can use your downstairs loo.
Thank you.
Lovely.
It reminds me, but we do laugh like children, and
Belly laugh.
all our, because we have known each other so long, all our girlfriends have always said, and our wives have always said, you're just like two kids.
I know, exactly.
Even to this day.
Yeah.
And we do have that thing. And God, I think that's the most wonderful thing. To laugh like children is joyous, isn't it? And just,
oh, God, absolutely. Tears, laughter.
Yeah.
We occasionally have that tear laughter, which, let's face it, it's hard. It's hard to find that now. That's what I'm saying. What makes you laugh? It's sometimes just the closeness of the friend or something like that. Or it can be my dog. He could do the strangest
things.
things.
We've been through such amazing experiences, from school to stage to travelling to everything. And you were mentioning Richard Pryor, and actually, do you remember that when 1920 we were that kind of age? We actually went and saw Richard Pryor in, where was it? What was the name?
Benihani's.
Benihani's, the Japanese restaurant in Los Angeles. And we were like, oh my God, it's like a
so
superstar,
exciting.
wasn't he?
He was a superstar. He was doing all the movies at the time. He had his albums out there, and we were like sharing a table. But, today we'd have been sort of taking photographs, videos, and TikTok, this, that, and everything else. But it was just special.
Wouldn't it be great to have a photo of us with Richard Pryor in those days? But we didn't have cameras. We had so many people that we met over the years, and you didn't have a camera to take a photograph. We just didn't have it. Do you remember from Los Angeles, we went down to Las Vegas?
Oh, what?
What a trip that was.
Where did we stay at? The Stardust.
The Stardust Hotel. And we looked all flash at the front. And then we realised that we had to walk about 1.5 miles to get to our room, which was right out the back. And it was like the worst motel you could ever see.
It was awful, because it was like, I think they were saying $29.99, the bucks. And we thought, $29.99 to stay at the Stardust. We went through one door, another door, out the back. It was really those cabins with the what's his name systems, the what do you call it? Air conditioning system rattle.
And if you kept it on, you couldn't sleep. Yeah, that was right. Do you remember that we spent all our money, a week's worth of money, because we went to see Frank Sinatra?
Oh, of course we did. I think it was like $50 tickets or something like that. That's right. And it was unbelievable. And we sat. Did we sit next to his wife?
His wife. It was his wife's birthday. And Nancy Sinatra opened for him.
Oh, wonderful!
Do you remember?
Wonderful.
And everything. And you actually slipped $20, which was a night's
very
sleep,
nice tip,
to get us right down the front. And we saw Frank Sinatra close up.
Oh,
it was just the most extraordinary time. And he was
fantastic.
And what does his wife say?
She turned around and I remember we were sitting there. She said, "You should have seen him 40 years ago." Do you remember that? It was just like this woman who was just there. It was just like, wow, because he still had a great voice. But we saw Frank at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
And then we went off to this bar after. I remember we going to this bar to celebrate, which was a little way off the strip, and we were sitting there, and we were probably attracted because it said 2 for 1 drinks or something like that, And we were there having a little bit of a drink, and there's a lovely, charming lady there that smiled a few times. They're reading a book, and I think we assumed that she was a tourist or something reading a book. Who walks into a bar and reads a book? And so we started having a little bit of chats and stuff like that, just being very, very nice, and then for some reason it was like we just went on this kind of thing. She started laughing, we started joking. I love the way you guys talk. Remember all that type of thing? Because we were putting on our finest English accents, of course, and all the humour and everything else. She said, "I'm having such fun." She said, "I'm going to do it for $200. Hooker." Yeah. Do you remember that?
It was
and we thought we We thought we'd just be having fun with someone. No planning of any going off to any motel room or anything like that. We were just having fun.
No, but it was like Dudley Moore in that film where he goes, "You're a hooker," and that was us. We were so innocent, weren't we?
Wonderful.
With everything, but great memories.
Yeah, really, really, really special. Loved it, and Vegas is a very special place too. God, we had some fun there, didn't we? We found ways of going to play poker and drink all night. Get free drinks. No, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not up this round. I'll wait as we drink.
Just look around for the waiter and just think. That's how we get through in Vegas.
Oh, lovely. But you do those things when you're young, don't you? And then you learn, and then you go onto the £20 tables or $20 tables, because you think this is all right, instead of a dollar in them days or something. Fantastic.
Is everyone funny, or does everyone have the potential to be funny?
If you're funny, you're funny, and I think that it's just, I've just spoken today about, modern day humour and stuff like that, and what people find funny, and, I'd sit in a room and people would be wetting themselves laughing, and I'm saying, what's funny? So I think I think we all are funny. I think it's why it's so diverse and so different. What makes one laugh. It's everybody is funny. It's like I believe everybody can dance. People say they can't dance. Everybody can dance. They might do the form dance. They might do a bit of shake and stuff like that. But it's their interpretation of release and letting themselves go. Some people do find it difficult. They cover their mouth when they laugh, or they're a bit shy of it. Which I really seem to sort of not make a beeline for those people, but it's those people I want to bring out more. I'd like to kind of say, because we all have the ability just to open up. It's like that wonderful scene in Colour Purple when it's Whoopi Goldberg, and she keeps covering her mouth, and she said, "No, pull your hand away." She said, "You've got the most beautiful smile." And eventually she pulled her hand away and she smiles, and the teeth come out, and she starts to laugh, and it's one of the most uplifting moments because it's a release. Yeah. All those years being sort of inhibited and withdrawn, it's the release, it's the freedom, and smile, laughter, as we've said on many occasions. You're probably saying in Humourology too that it makes a difference. It can really change people. It can really make people more relaxed with one another.
So, what would the world be like without humour? Do you think?
I can't. I don't even want to go there. Very dark. Very, very dark, lonely place. Humour is everything. Being able to smile, especially with your own people and stuff like that. So, yeah, it'd be a very dark place. I wouldn't like to think what that would be like, really.
Do you think, because I think people have got maybe more pompous, maybe more precious over time. Do you think it's important to laugh at yourself? Because we go back to school days. You had to sort of put the joke on yourself to, whether you're tall and black or short and blonde, you'd have to sort of recognise it.
Well, yeah. Now we look in the mirror and it's blonde and black. I don't know. I just think that you do look in the mirror sometimes at yourself, and we see the changes. But I still like myself. I look in the mirror and smile when I look in the mirror. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but I look there and say, "Hey, morning to you. Come on, it's another day. Enjoy it." It's you. You have to look after yourself. You've got to. I wouldn't love yourself. It's not like I love myself. Yeah, I like to protect myself, and by protecting myself, it means being nice to you and not knocking yourself for it. What you've got. Make the best of it. This is me, and I look in there and I said, "Hey, how you doing? Come on, this is it. Bald, grey round here. I put a little bit of sort of blacky pencil sometimes to kind of, a little bit kind of, just make you feel good whatever it is to make you feel good about yourself. You've got to live with yourself. You've got to do it. If anybody needs this lifting or that lifting or something down here or something down there, if it's going to make you feel good, do it if you can, because we've only got ourselves. And if you can just look in that mirror and go, yeah, I'm happy with me now. Wow. Are
you suggesting I get Botox?
Botox, too late. Too late. Botox.
Harsh. But fair. You worked in a variety of different, because of course when you left school you went to Verrez and you trained, and then you worked but I don't think people know enough that you were a top chef as well in hotels and things. Do you think people laugh enough in the workplace? I mean, because
I think that it's there's certain people who generate laughter. You know, there's we all go to work and we always think that he's the funniest or she's the funniest or they are the funniest. Whoever it is, there are people that, you know, are in the workplace that just make you giggle, and they're quite often the ones that have that energy. They give off a lovely energy. You know, make the coffee. Who wants a coffee? Shall I stir it for your love? Or whatever they do, they bring a touch of humour, a touch of gentleness to the whole thing, and just make everything flow very, very nicely. So there is humour in the workplace. I'd like to think that, you know, when I was chefing in the hotels and restaurants, a lot of my team would just stay with me. People now, they talk about coming and staying for 6 months or something like that and moving on. A lot of my team stayed with me for a couple of years because I think they enjoyed the atmosphere. And my boss, my old boss, Malcolm Cowan, God bless me, that must be in his late 70s now, Malcolm. What a lovely man, you know, gave me early responsibility when a lot of restaurants I'd go to and they'd see a black chef, they didn't want a black head chef there because it was just the way it was at the time. They didn't want, you know, someone with with dark skin to be running an established restaurant. So, you know, but Malcolm made me sous chef of the West, but he gave me an opportunity. He gave me that belief to kind of say, you know, yeah, I'm giving you the responsibility now because I want you to create the team. I want you to make, you know, because it's all about having team spirit in the kitchen. It's not about, right, you're great cooking here. Yeah, we have to make mise en place. We have to prepare in advance and stuff like that. But it's creating that team and that, you know, because you're working with each other a long time. If you're doing split duty, you're there at 8 in the morning, you finish at 2:30 in the afternoon, you come back at 5:30, you don't finish till 11 o'clock at night. So if its service is a bit slow, one or two might go a bit early, then you alternate it. But otherwise, it's a long day. You know, you're there for service, and you've got to have a good team spirit there. If that team spirit goes, you know, I often say if you're happy, it's reflected in the food. My mother always said that, the food's smiling. And it does. It's kind of, there's a lovely energy about you're putting something, you enjoy the baking, and you know when someone's put love and attention into it, and then you eat it, and it's a real pleasure. It's why we love home cooking so much, because there's a lot of love that's gone into it. And I think that it's reflected in the kitchen there. I'm enjoying that. I'm preparing that. I've put that there. Wow, that looks good. Yeah, that's sauce. That's the way it should be. That's perfection. You put it up there. You're proud of it. You might do it 50 times a night, but you're proud of it because it's just like, you know, that's what it's all about. And Malcolm often used to say, I hate the word standard, but that's what we're after. I want standards, because standard kind of means it's a bit standard. It's not. It's repeating the same thing. And brought a lot of understanding, simplicity into your art and made you feel very good about it.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because I think there's a lot that any business could learn from a kitchen, in the sense of, like, how do you bring a team together? And if I would say, like, the business case for getting more humour into those environments, you would presumably agree that it changes the atmosphere.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if we were selling it to people who run, you know, a firm of accountants, it's the same ingredients, isn't it?
It's exactly the same ingredients. It's not, you know, it's another chef Nick Navarat, who was the executive chef of all the cricket grounds in the country, used to travel round. But I used to see him at Lord's, he used to get me to run the long room for him. And he often said the chef, the preparation for chefs, he says, it's like preparation for life. It really is. Organisation, getting things ready for any eventuality. If things happen, that you can cover it. So you don't really get stuck, God forbid, if something happens and you do 250 covers instead of 200, fair enough. But if you prepared for what you think is going to happen, then there's nothing greater than that. And then finishing a service at the end. This happens twice a day, every day, okay? And if you want to include breakfast, there's 3 times a day. You want to include tea, there's even more. So each time it's about reproducing and coming back with the same standard, hitting it time and time and time again. And there's something really lovely about that. It's like when you go to your favourite restaurant, and I know with places you like to go to, they know the way you like it.
But in terms of, people getting a good atmosphere and the right feeling in a company, there's a payback on that, isn't there? That people, will stay longer, don't you think? I mean, you just said...
Loyalty.
The loyalty. That's really interesting.
It's loyalty. It's like if you, they'll just be loyal to you. And I looked after them, even when I had my own catering business, and I used to get the tips for everybody. I used to give it out. Everybody got a share of the tips. Some of them had never received that before, because they'd get a couple of quid here and there. No, I'm spreading it out. Because without you guys, a lot of people used to just keep it for themselves. Without you guys, this ain't happening. And some of the butlers that I used to hire, they used to work at places like Buckingham Palace and stuff like that. I used to get some really inside information. It was like watching The Crown with them lot. All the info that used to come out. But they used to come and work because they know I looked after them. If we're doing a really nice job, really proper job, then you'd hire them, pay them their fee, and any tip that I got from the client was just, and it was fantastic. You looked after people, and they enjoyed it. It was a real pleasure, real pleasure.
Well, it's funny because obviously I've been on sets with you over the years, and you've spent a lot of your life on sets or travelling around the world. That's a mini company, isn't it? It's kind of, and what a mini family. Oh, you see, you're reframing it as a family rather than a company. And so you're actually making it even more intimate. What do you advise people, or what do you do when you go onto a set? What are you trying to create in that atmosphere?
Good feel factor. I think we mentioned the. What Maya Angelou said before about that, people forget said, or what you do is the good feel factor. And that's what you want to go away with. You want to have that feeling of feeling good, feeling wholesome inside, feeling like, you might have been educated, you might have been shown something, but that feeling of being able to go on and either recreate something or have that self-belief because you're feeling good. And if you're feeling good, you have that self-belief. If you're meeting someone for the first time and you're chatting them up and you're having a little chat with each other, if you're feeling good, it just flows, doesn't it? It just really, really flows. And if you're not feeling good,
everybody's looking at you. Yeah, but that's true, and I think that's something that people can take away is that it's your job if you run a company, whatever company that is, whether you're making a television production or you're running, a firm of investors or you're, insurance broking or building site. What you want is you want to get an atmosphere where people want to work for you rather than have to work for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not always easy. I can imagine that, there's times when things just don't feel right. But, if you're a good boss, I've got a neighbour, and I remember going to a party of his a couple of years ago, and I met some of his staff, and I won't name names, but he just said, what a guy to work for. It's just top, man. I'd do anything for him. And it was really weird. And we're talking about guys are quite high powered. They're quite up there in a very aggressive business world. But they said, I'd do anything for him. And it's because, you know, they were there. They were in that house. They were chatting and sitting around and playing with his kids, and they had their kids there. And they, it wasn't like a social thing outside. No, come to the home, do a bit of this, a bit of that. And another one I spoke with only just started the company, but I've only been here a few weeks, but you know, he said the people are just so nice, and you know, and there with his partner, and you know, they were just, I just thought, wow. And he made that happen. Not only that, he made that happen, but it was also his wife, who I thought was fantastic too. She created, you know, they had this bond. She made it happen. She was very easy, and you know, one of the kids made a bit of it. Oh, don't worry about it, just clean it up. Not getting worked up about it. How does that bounces off the mother, bounces back onto that? The whole work environment, these people, they support me regardless. Even when my child has made a mistake, they're there to support me. Makes me emotional just thinking about it. But these are the type of things that you build, you know, you build the family unit, and they want to support you. Everybody's successful then, everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's the difference that makes a difference. It's really, and you know, we get a lot of business people listening to this podcast, and that's something you can really take away, is build a family in your department, in your
build a little unit. Not always easy, because you're not always there, you're not always in contact with them, you're not always one-to-one situation, but if you're there and you filter it down, as I said, kid, wife, husband, then next, and so it goes, and then it grows, and it goes, and it goes. But you're in the centre there, the company, and it's growing. Just make it happen. That's the way I see it anyway. Not everybody's going to have that. We know that. Not everybody's going to be like that. And we are people that are a lot more open-minded to things, and ultimately, we want people to be happy. Even when you do a gig, whatever you do, you want people to walk away and think, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I got something out of that. And that's what it is, that self-satisfaction of each time feeling that.
Well, yeah, I think that's what you bring to places, is the feel-good factor.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting bloody hungry now. Come on. I am. I'm bloody starving.
We're only doing another 8 hours.
I know, I've only had a sugary bun and a cup of coffee.
Have you ever gotten yourself out of trouble using humour? Now, having known you all these years, I know the answer to this question.
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of, it reminds me a little bit, when you say, have you ever got out of trouble using humour? It's the same as, I liken it to cooking. Before it becomes trouble, before my onions have caramelised, I've smelt it, I've sensed it, and I've put a bit of wine in there to reduce it down and to save it. And it's one of those situations. I think before something gets completely out of control, you think, oh, it's not going too well. It's like all of us, we've all been in situations before where we've done gigs, or we're confronted with having to speak in a conference or do something like that. And you think, this isn't quite going the way I imagined it. Well, experience will tell you, as we spoke about it earlier, is how to kind of shift it, how to just kind of turn it around a little bit, and to have somewhere where you can go to that it's going to, you know, bring it back in, so you're back in control again. Because if you lose that, I should imagine it's like a comedian going on stage and the first 5 minutes you fall flat on your ass, then there's nowhere to go. Yeah. There really is nowhere to go. Unless it's part of an act and you're saying, right, now that's over, we can get something else, which probably would be a good place to go to. But, you know, of course I use humour. I use humour all the time. We use humour, and sometimes it goes not so sweet, and maybe even when you're chatting someone up of your liking, you know, you've met someone and you're chatting with them and, you know, you think, ugh, and then you just put your fingers up, I wish it was Groundhog Day.
Come back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow.
Okay, I know that didn't work.
Oh, boy, I'll wear the right shoes tomorrow.
So, in any business, is it survival of the fittest or survival of the funniest, or a combination?
Yeah, I think combination. I think if it's I think if you're quite fit and you're sharp, then it's not all just about being fitness, because fitness you can sort of drive yourself because you believe you've got more energy than everybody else. We're not all the same, we're all different. And humour's exactly the same again. So it's about, if you can have both. We've just been talking about addressing how to create that right spirit, that right energy within your company, that if you can have a sense of, to a certain degree, a sense of humour, but to have a fit mind, to be really kind of switched on. I'm not talking about necessarily going down to the gym every day and being pumping and stuff like that. I'm just talking about being fresh and being open to ideas, and opening up to people. That for me is being part of being fit too.
Yeah. No, I think it's important.
Instead of being just driven.
Yeah. Now we've reached the part of the show called Quickfire Questions.
Quickfire Questions.
So, Quickfire Questions again. Whatever thing. We just love the jingle, don't we?
Okay.
Okay. What's your favourite sound?
Favourite sound? It's probably the sound of when a goal's been scored from distance, and you just when I go down to the Emirates to watch the Arsenal, and you can see something's going, and you can hear 60,000 people go, ah! And the scream, the crescendo, because it builds beautifully, and it suddenly explodes. And that's that feeling of you just looking at each other, screaming and shouting. And I don't know of any other time you do that. You wouldn't do that at home because your family would think you're mad. But sport just allows you that release. Fabulous.
It's euphoria, isn't it? In a sound.
Yeah.
No, I love that and everything. What person makes you smile? Or people?
People make me smile, but when I see my children more than anything, I know they're adults now in their own right. But when I see them, I just smile. I smile, I want to smell them. I'm like an animal that's been out there in the wild and snuggle them and sort of, I love that. I love the smile. Or I'd go as far as saying when you said something and had a positive feedback from someone in a crowd and everybody smiles together. That is pretty unique. Because it's almost like an electricity. It's almost like a charge of laughter, a charge of energy. That it could just be, it's just going to be a very light one, but collectively, it's so powerful.
Oh, it's enticing, isn't it? That crowd doing that together. And finally, desert island dinner party. You get to have 3 people from anywhere in history, present day or past, to come to your dinner parties. Who is it?
I probably mentioned 2 of them already throughout the course of our talks, or might have been at different days. But for me, Maya, having met her, and I actually cooked her 70th, presented her with her 70th, Maya Angelou, with her 70th birthday, her 70th birthday cake. And I now have every copy of her book in my library signed by her. So that's pretty unique. She signed every one of them, of all the different ones. And I Know Why a Cage Bird Sings is her very first book. If any of people tuning into the podcast haven't read that, just read it and you get into the whole lot. Beautiful. Barack Obama. And more recently, just one of those people that has come into my life, but for what he did, and I feel sad that so many of his policies he never got through because of people didn't want it. But a remarkable man. I think it's again, I've spoke throughout this podcast about the way you make people feel. He makes you feel so special when you listen to him. It's what did he say? I can't remember. but I was just like there, you know, and it just lifts you because the energy that he creates around people, and you're part of that too. It's like a great preacher in a church, or a great someone who does a sermon or something. Fantastic.
And a fantastic sense of humour as well. I mean, he is so sharp on every level. God, I can see that why you would have him at your dinner party.
And finally, Arsene Wenger. I love Arsene there because Arsene would love those other two people. You could just see I'd have to have that mix, and just to be able there to talk, and having met the man myself, he's so charming, and everything about him is just lovely. Just lovely. That's all I'm going to say. Just lovely. The three of them and us sitting around there. I don't know how much. I'd have to do a one-pot job because I wouldn't want to leave the table.
Well, I'll come and help you cook if I can come as well. Sounds like the perfect dinner party.
Oh, lovely.
Ains, thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. Pleasure's been great.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Let's hope we send out lots of love and give people some positive energy.
The Humourology Podcast was hosted by Paul Boross and produced by Simon Banks. Music by Steve Hayworth, creative direction by Les Hughes, and additional research by Helen Sykes. Please remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. This has been a Big Sky production.